What's up? This is Lulu Allen. This episode titled Trauma, and we finna jump right into it. I'm gonna give y'all a couple resources and ways to deal with it. And like I said, I'm not a professional, but from my experience, I'm gonna talk about that. When we are exposed to trauma, what is some traumatic things, So let's get to it. But before we get to it, out here, RJ, that producer crazy. Out West 290, let's get it. Yes, it's Black people. I have spoken about it before that, we have, like, if you're a 90s baby or whatever like that, you're definitely in the age group where you had parents to tell you, like, talking to somebody or going to see somebody, like, you crazy or it's not effective or you wasting money or everything about it just has been negative, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm one of them people, like, I don't blame my parents for anything, like, why I wasn't born into wealth, why I don't have, like, certain things set up for me that will put me in a financial, advantage, why I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't blame them for nothing, because they ain't had those resources. They simply didn't know. They born 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, doing the whole Jim Crow, the whole segregation, the whole Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Black Panther, the crack era, you know what I'm saying? Crack era. So it's like I look at it like this. You can't really blame people when they got all those disadvantages against it. Well, they just trying to survive. They just trying to live. You know what I'm saying? They just trying to progress as a generation. So I definitely don't hold my parents accountable at all because, they didn't have those things. But I hold myself at a higher state. Like, I hold myself full accountable just because I'm in a different generation where we start getting those resources. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like when you know better, you do better. And we got to take the time to just apply that pressure. Like, we really want something, we go do it. You know what I'm saying? But again, back to the whole trauma thing. So, I want to say, like, the early 2010s or whatever. Like, I don't even know what kind of, you can't say early 2000s, but like in my teenage years or whatever like that. When I started being on my own and things like that, I started attracting more traumatic situations. And this is the thing. Your parents are there to nurture. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you still got to go to school. You still got interaction with people outside your crib. So that's your nature, and you have to take account, like, both of those play a part in who you are. Both of those parts raise you in some different type of form or way. But generally speaking, Black people, we already have the survival in us, the survival mentality, like, it's embedded in our DNA. So, rather we grew up in the suburban neighborhood and we had like a bunch of, neighbors that was like different ethnicity group and we experienced different type of trauma like that. Or we may not have even experienced trauma, but for the people who have experienced trauma, and it's a great deal of us, no matter where you were, good neighborhood, suburban neighborhood, middle class, or in the hood, the ghetto, projects, low income, whatever it was, we was always in fight or flight mode, not just to the next door neighbor, not just to the streets, not just to the police that's riding around, just to everything. You know what I'm saying? We wake up and we in it 24/7. So it's like, that's all we know, and we look at it like it's normal because that's our everyday life, and it is normal, So back to the story, once I started being on my own and stuff, put myself in situations, attracting certain things because of what my current situation was, I just kept bringing on more and more to my plate that I felt like, at some point I'm keep getting out the jam, I'm keep making it to the next day. I keep surviving. At the end of the day, when you're in certain situations like that, you don't care if you live or die. You care more about the people you leave behind, honestly. You don't care about yourself, so that's one thing that starts toxic traits. A lot of times our trauma, and we don't address it. We don't even notice it. We ain't got time to notice it. So definitely talking about trauma, the trauma that we bring on top of the trauma that we was already enduring from growing up, but to continue, add more trauma to the situation, mean people, what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say bad people because we all out there just trying to live. We all out there just trying to eat, trying to feed our families, you know what I'm saying? So everybody got their specialty and what they do in the streets. For real. Like, everybody got some type of hustle that they good at. Or you good at it because you did it so much, but you good at it because you can get away with it. You know what I'm saying? You know what to look for. You know how to get out the jams. You know when a situation finna pop off and you just know before it even hit the fan, So
meet more and more people, getting into different stuff, getting in more and more trouble. You know what I'm saying? And then at some point, you have, I don't want to say a breakthrough, but it's something that's drastically that happens. Rather you lose a friend, you lose your, you lose yourself mentally. You see something, you witness something, you go to jail, you get jumped on, you get hurt, or it's just like it gets to a point where it's so much piled up on you. You've been holding in so long, because that's another thing. When you dealing with a lot of trauma experience, you don't know how to express that. You don't even have time to even reflect, to break down what's going on, to recognize what's going on. You just keep living and living. And a lot of times when it comes to doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing, you got all the steps of, if this go down, you're going to do this, this, and that. You got plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But you ain't never, in all those plans, you ain't got nothing with, okay, how I'm going to recover from this on a mental aspect. It's always, dang, I lost this money, how I'm going to get that money back? Oh, they got my homie, how I'm going to get them back? Oh, they locked this person up. Now I gotta go, bail them out. Gotta get them a lawyer. Like, we got plans. Oh, they shoot. Oh, I know I duck. Do this. Oh, I know I'm gonna catch them later. This is why this episode is really important, because I'm not personal on the podcast at all. And I would never explain or fully detail what I went through, but I just gonna put it in, terms and, pretty much put it in a bush. How they say, oh, you talking around the bush? That's what I'm talking like. But to continue, you go through a drastic situation, boom, all right, you get out. It's like, once it happens so many times, it's to the point where it's too bad, you start to find yourself. You start to address, like, dang, that wasn't okay. I should never did that. And in the Bible, it's like a condemnation or something like that. And basically what it is where the stuff you do starts to haunt you. And you start to blame yourself. I don't care what nobody say. Everybody goes through this if you did something bad in the streets. I don't care, because at some point, you be like, because you're not going to be that person your whole life. So you're going to reflect like, dang, I really was hurting people. Even if you ain't know them. Dang, I really was hurting people. I know they ain't had it, but I did this. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody goes through that. And so when you hit that point, that's when you start to really be able to reflect. Because you start to be like, hold on, why I thought that was cool? Well, what's in me to think I could you start to look at it like, dang, why I felt like I could get away with it? Why I ain't had no remorse? Why I ain't had no emotions? And it's like all these feelings come out of nowhere. You just don't know how to deal with it because nobody never taught you. You never even realized that was a problem. And this is speaking on like the growing up hood, because recently from Chicago, it was just like a shootout. And they killed the little girl, but like you hear stories like this every summer, every spring. And it be like the person who's getting arrested be a teenager. And I tell people all the time, like the people in Chicago that shoot ain't us grown 20, 30, like 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. No, it's the kids. It's the teenagers. And you got to look at their parents, they kids. And look at their parents and they kids. And it's like nobody sat there and just stopped the cycle. Nobody stopped there and just said, damn, I care about you. And even if they did, you look at it like it's a joke or it's soft because you already been got from the street. Continue with the whole trauma thing. Now let's take it back though. Because we talking about teenagers. Let's take it back to what even started the whole trauma. So scientifically, they speak how from birth to the age of 7 years old, regardless if you are a girl and a boy or a boy, whatever, regardless of what your gender is, those are the years as a child where you soak up the most information. Those are the most crucial years of your entire life, believe it or not. So if you're born in a messed up situation, you know what I'm saying? When I say messed up, I'm talking about where as a kid from 0 to 7, you ain't even able to be a kid. You grown up fast compared to other kids because of your environment. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, this is nothing to blame because at the end of the day, we make choices. From 0 to 7, you're innocent. You can't make a choice. But once you get old enough to make those choices, you can't sit there and continue to blame your parents. You can't sit there and blame your grandparents, whoever your caregiver was, whoever your friends is, that got you in the gym, that set you up, none of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, everybody got a position. And I'm telling you now, you missed the red flags a long time ago. You missed them. You even saw them. Thought to yourself, talk to yourself about it, and still continue to do those things with that person. or even worse. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, 0 to 7 is the most crucial years of your life, right? So boom, now you 8 years old. You probably seen some stuff you should have never saw. You know what I'm saying? You probably was neglected from your parents. You know what I'm saying? You probably just had you and your siblings, and everything is not to talk in a negative way. It's just to simply like for you to realize like, dang, you know, it did start there, because everything you do as an adult ties back to your childhood. And I really stand behind that, because it's called shadow work. I did that. And I'm like, dang, okay, why I had these type of relationships with people? Why I even think like this? Like somebody always got me, like somebody always on my heels, like my back always against the wall, when it ain't, because I've been in a certain situation so many times that I can't see nothing else. And it's like, dang, am I keep attracting these type of situations and people? Yes. But when you in a different environment, you have to notice that that's a different environment. That's not that. Still keep the street codes, but just know that you tripping. But to continue, as a child, you 8, 9, no telling what's going on. You just like, okay, I saw this, I witnessed it, I've been through this. I'm still a kid. Your brain don't know what's going on. It can't process it. Your brain is so young. You soaked up all this information, all these experiences, witnessed all these things, but you can't even break it down. You can't even process what happened. And you don't have nobody to go to that will effectively tell you like, yo, you saw this. Let me try to domesticate the situation. Let me try to break it down and put you in a normal environment, or show you normal things, or be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Or not blame you for the decisions you make when you were a kid or young, because at the end of the day, this is what you have to look up to. Again, trauma. We carry it on, and we blame other people for it, and we just be like, later on, oh, dang, it was me the whole time. This is game right here, because when I say trauma starts young and it carries you, and I speak about this because I'm a person, my whole podcast came from a dark place that I was at. A real dark place that I was at. Some misery that I've been living in for a minute. And it was my choice, because I allowed that. I continued to go back. I continued to live in it. I continued to relive the trauma, even though I'm not even in a situation anymore. Like, the mind is a crazy thing. And that's what I'm saying. Like, really just tap into the things that you find yourself in a toxic situation. Like, damn, why I'm in this situation? Why I'm in this relationship with this person? Why I'm friends with this person? Why I'm at this job? Why do I talk to people like this? Why do I just, and you don't even look at it like, dang, do I hate myself? Because honestly, you do hate yourself. You may hate things about you, but you need to see where that started from though. But don't just limit to yourself to that, because it's deeper than that. Because you got to think about it. How you was raised was your understanding of life. And a lot of time, like I said, we don't realize we're into trauma. So yes, I started this podcast for mental health for Black people. For one, I am Black. Nothing different. Like, that's obvious. I'm Black. I'm a person who suffers from mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? Suffers from trauma. And I don't have no issue expressing that, because I know it's people out there that's doing it and they don't know what to do, how to address it, or even know that they in it. And it took me years to even realize that, for somebody to keep telling me like, yo, something's up with you. Like, you don't express yourself. Like, I used to be a shell. Don't express myself for years. Over 20, I have not been expressive at all. And then something happened, and I just started, now I'm just like, I'm seeing with very close people, I'm seeing as being like over emotional. No, it's over 20 some years of not expressing myself at all, seeing stuff, doing stuff, and not even dropping a tear, not even having a remorse. And I never been a person who never expressed to the point, like, if I'm in a situation, I'd be like, yo, I don't know if I could do this. Like, I'm scared. I have been that person, because I'm gonna let you know, like, I ain't scared to the point I'm gonna run off, but it's like, yo, I'm scared, and out of fear, I swear to God, when you in a situation out of fear, you'll do some crazy stuff. Like, ain't even no running. It just be like, okay, I'm in this situation. I gotta survive. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That right there, that added a lot of trauma with a lot of situations I put myself in. So it's like, it's not like, and that's what I say with trauma. It's okay to express yourself. I'm just now understanding, like, all these cries I have and tears I have and break it down, it's not weakness. It's not. Because it gotta come out. Because if I sit here and hold this in and bottle it in, then that's me being weak because I'm running from my problems and not addressing the situation I'm having at hand with myself. Or even if I got a situation with somebody else. At the end of the day, whatever you feel and the other person don't feel that. And if they do feel how you feel in the situation, that's guilt on their end. Because honestly, if somebody never did nothing to you, just look at it like this. Let's say you never did something to somebody. Let's say you're in a relationship, right? And your girl or your boyfriend like tripping. You don't know where it's coming from. And they like, oh, they feel like this, like you don't care about them, like you doing this and that. You like, yo, I do, like, what are you talking about? You know, you like, dang, I'm so lost. Like, I don't feel none of the stuff you saying. You said I did it, you know, I apologize. You know, I assess the situation, but you're not feeling the pain that they're expressing to you right now. So you got to understand, like, your trauma, when you sit here and really like dig deep into your trauma, you got to be honest with yourself because nobody else feeling that but you. And if you having a situation or had past situation, do what you feel like you got to do, but don't sell yourself out. And when I say don't sell yourself out, it's like, don't give too much out of a situation expecting anything. Anytime you do something, do it solely because you want to, but don't expect anything. Like, for instance, I always say closure does not have anything to do with the other person at all. Like, if somebody was to, like, if you lost, like, if your parent walked out your life or whatever like that, and now they were trying to come back in your life, you know what I'm saying? That closure that they probably feel like, hey, I've been gone this long, let me go ahead and tap in with Shawty, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, life going crazy, you just never know. That closure, that has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk to a parent that been gone so long. Your closure has nothing to do with them. And even though it may sound crazy, this is the thing. Let's say you tap into your parent who walked out your life, right? They sitting here talking to you. Or let's say they don't talk to you. They don't even entertain the thought of even rekindling a situation, like trying to get to know you, you know? You mad at them. For what? Because this is the thing, how you mad at them? They never been there. Yes, you got a lot of questions. It left a hole. You probably like question yourself, like, damn, you want there to protect, be there, understand, listen, nurture, be a mama, be a father, none of those things. And you trying to close that gap that you feel. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if they turn that away, yo, they showed you who they was, believe them. You trying to get closure out the situation, and it's not going to work out the way you feel like it is. Now, it's some happy endings to stories. And everything I'm saying is not on a negative note. It's on from experience. Like, I've seen it one too many times. I have seen where people connect with their parents, and it's a beautiful thing because they like, yo, I wanted to connect. And I have seen people connect, try to reach out to a parent. They did not want to connect. And I seen the type of damage it left them because it left them that kid that when they first left. They just want to close that gap, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to understand, like, the pain you feeling ain't they pain. They may not really, they got their own demons to fight. So that closure, don't try to put they demons on you. So we already talked about, you know, trauma when you young, when you a kid, you know what I'm saying? Trauma when you growing up, you a teenager, whatever. And it's all for you to just sit there and be like, and if you ain't got no issues, you ain't got no trauma, amen to you. You know, the Most High, I say to you, for real. Because to live in trauma, it's so much that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? It changes you in so many different ways. And I literally posted this the other day. The trauma situations that I have been through make me a different person every time I come out of it. It does. It tears you down to the bone in some areas. It leaves some scars that just won't never heal. But you got to get up. At the end of the day, you got to be like, man, I can't be comfortable or be content in that, because I did that before too. Be content in my situation to the point it caused me so much later on. So much later on. When I could have just been like, okay, that was an L, chopped it up, kept it moving, moved differently. It is what it is. I let it eat at me. You know? And that's no way to deal with trauma at all. Don't ever walk away from trauma, because I swear, I'm a runner, I'm a try. That's me. I be putting on them tractions. I be gone. I be running away from problems. But now since I'm sitting here and addressing it, it's like, it does me good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not build up. It's not me. Because when you sit here and hold on to that stuff, you start to build up self-hate. I swear to God. You start to build up self-hate. You start to point your fingers at other people for the blame. When it's just you. But yeah, so as adults, why do we sit here and keep finding ourselves in traumatic situations? Keep going through traumatic experience. Why do we do that? And outside of not knowing, I don't call it ignorancy, because it's like when you've been in a situation so long, it's normal. It's your everyday life. It's day to day. I'm going to wake up, do this. It's like clockwork. Wake up, do this, see that, go through this, make this bread, do this, By the end of the day, come eat, sleep. Tomorrow, I do it all over again. And even if you're working a 9 to 5, I look at it like this. 9 to 5 schools, all that stuff is institutionalized. All those things. You don't learn nothing in school. School is a scam. Like, even as parents, take your child life to the next level with what you do in the crib. Period. Especially as Black people. Throw some YouTube on. It's videos how to make money successfully, working for yourself. It's videos about, eating healthy. It's videos about, the brain, mental health, being, emotional, it's so many videos out there now. It's more than just playing the game. It's one, and I ain't gonna lie, with COVID, boy, being home with your kid is very stressful. But that's the thing though. That's how institutionalized we are. And this is not even getting off the topic of trauma, because this added so much more trauma, because it's during COVID, it has been so many divorces. It has been so many broken homes that came out on the other side. It has been a lot of kids with their education delayed, not just solely going to school, but solely because it's like while you was home, everybody in the house want their own space because they can't go nowhere. We have lost all social cues with each other because we do the same thing. Wake up, go to work, you go to school, we come in the house, we eat, we go to sleep. So all that time that you sit here and traded for money, or all that time you sit here and traded for all these different things that took you out your element and really getting to know and grow with your family or whoever in your household, now you forced to be right back in that situation and you don't know how to handle it because you don't even know them people for real no more. Because every day we growing, we changing, whether it's for the worse or the better. We not the same person we was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So with trauma, that came another thing. So it's like, as Black people right now, I'm not going to lie about this. We just added more of a financial gap and more trauma to our current situations with these damn loans. And I say it to say this because we did it wrong. We was in situations like it's nothing wrong with treating yourself, but you spending $20K, like it's your money, but you just look at it. You spending $20K on designer, on all these trips, on all these luxurious things. And like I say, it's nothing wrong with that, but you gonna have to pay that money back. It's a loan. It's the government. And it's like, you can't say that it's anybody's fault but yours. Like, because it's like, okay, you got this $20K. What you gonna do with it? We hustlers, but we also the biggest consumers. So we should have put our hustle before the consume, made another 20, 40, 60, 100K, flip that first, little loan. Yo, here go y'all money back. I'm already up now. And I have seen people that came up on it, but I have seen a lot of people that didn't. You know what I'm saying? And now we just added more trauma to our situations, more trauma to our household, because it's like people out here really losing their housing. People out here really losing like food allowance, like the stuff that they really need before the pandemic. And it's like now how you gonna feed your family? You know what I'm saying? Now how you gonna provide shelter? Now how you gonna put clothes on their back? On yours. Because at the end of the day, we can't take care of nobody else if we ain't taken care of. We can't do nothing for nobody and we ain't doing it for ourselves. And we do it so much as Black people. I swear to God, we the most loving, caring, concerning people. But it's like we as a whole has to take care of ourselves better to the point where it's not selfish and we don't care about nobody. But it's like, yo, I'm good, you good. So that's trauma. And why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Why? And we can't say just solely because of how the hands we was dealt. We know the system wasn't built for us. We know we built this country, but the system in place was not built for us, because we built this country with listening to the masses. We built this country with no rights, with no ownership, no understanding, no knowledge, no nothing as a whole.
So fast forward, 2020, Corona hit crazy. People lost their jobs. People didn't have no way to pay rent, to feed their families, none of those different things. And these little stimmies, you talking about 13, 14, whatever, a couple of hundreds for 6, 7 months. Come on now. But you look at it like, dang, here we go with these SBA loans, 20K, 15K. And we are so programmed to be consumers instead of investors. We ain't even flip the money right to put us in a bigger advantage than before the corona. And if we had the mindset, more of us had the mindset of being investors and having ownership, and we can't even talk about back then ownership when we built this country, because we weren't even allowed to read then.
Trauma as adults, that's a prime good example right there with these loans. I'm not gonna lie. And the only reason why I haven't done it and I have a business is because I already have debt before this. So it's like, yo, if I can't pay you back, yo, I'm not even gonna do that. And it's like, my businesses for the investment, like 20K, I would have automatically used a few K, not even 5, not even 4. Put that money aside, boom, here y'all go off the rip, because I know if I go into debt, I know I can pay off 3, 4K, 2K, 1K. But the businesses I'm doing is longevity. I ain't gonna see no money like that right off the bat. So it's like, yo, why even put myself in further debt? But that comes with understanding, research. Like, I tap into people who's like financial advisors. I had those talks because I want to know. It's discipline. And that's something like I said, I'm not perfect because I struggle with discipline because I have been content in my own trauma so long. So when I speak about trauma, just look at your situations and how can you change it. And it's not like, okay, I'm the problem, I'm this, I'm that. Don't do it in a negative perspective where it puts you in more contentment, put you down. No, look at it like, okay, I got to change it now. So yes, let's type into things to fix the trauma that we find ourselves in, because honestly, it be the thrill, especially in the streets, bro. It's the thrill. Like, that's what it come down to. It's the thrill, it's the fun, it's the flex, it's the quick scheme, it's the quick get money, it's the not even because it's like at the end of the day, people say, you know, money is the root of all evil. No, it's not. It's a tool, and we got to understand it's a tool, it's a resource. The only times it become the root of all evil is because the things that we do for it. You know what I'm saying? Knocking people upside the head, robbing, jacking, all the other crazy stuff. That's further and more trauma in the Black community, because we now just put them in a traumatic situation, especially if they not in the streets. It's not fair game like that. We sitting here robbing the working parties, our neighborhoods, and you know, they go to the store or whatever. We gonna knock them up, side their head, take their little bread. Now they can't feed their family. They don't know what's going on. You know you're not finna call the cops. You know what I'm saying? We don't mess with them. What can we do about trauma? Outside of addressing it? Well, first how do you address it? Sit down. Go to the drawing board. Write out, like, what are you tired of? What are you tired of reoccurring? What are you tired of finding yourself into? What is this pain you feeling? Why is it there? What are you doing? What are you allowing? That's how you address it. You got to find out what it is. What's going on? What is your trauma? Okay, that's my trauma. Boom. Where did it start? Did it start right now? Did it start when I was a youngin', a shawty? Did it, like, when was it OV for me? Be honest with yourself. You know, when was it like, yo, it's over with? Savage mode. I'm going crazy. I don't care who am I. Like, it is what it is. Like, for instance, if you a guy and you out there constantly cheating and having multiple kids, or you a female and you out here having multiple kids, or you out here in and out of jobs, you don't have financial stability, bad relationships, trauma from childhood, connections, you was molested, you was raped, you was sold for drugs, you was in a lot of racial situations, you know what I'm saying, you was neglected, you was treated differently because you spoke proper, you was treated differently because your family had a little bit of money, but y'all was in a low income situation, environment. Like, different situations come with different traumas. So you got to understand, what is your trauma? What is your trauma? All right, boom, address it. Okay, cool. When did it start? Go to the root. When I was younger, then this happened. And then I came to my parents and they reacted like this. And then I went back to school and this happened again. Like, that becomes a cycle where you start to feel neglect from your parents. You start to feel the hate from the people that's causing it. You start to feel like you was the problem. And you carry that on. And you hear this story when people become bullies, but I'm serious, you carry that on. And then it's like, bro, because like, for instance, for me, I be like in my adulthood, why people keep trying me? But you know I'm crazy and I take it there. And I had to realize it's the people I'm around and the stuff that I'm attracting. But not only that, I allow this from a previous person. They witnessing like, yo, if that person could get away with it, I can. That's why I be checking everybody, because you got me messed up. Even if you my homie or something, somebody close to me and you do something in public, yo, no, we don't take that in the house. Because people see that. People treat you how you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you. But to continue with what else we could do with trauma. Once you aware of it, you address the situation, you find out the root of it, now what you gonna do? You're going to talk about it. It comes with change behavior, but you got to understand what you're changing and how to change it. So do your research. And like for me, I have some trauma and I'm going to put y'all on game. So it's called EDMR, or you have like, I have an issue where my trauma is so deeply rooted and it hunts me so much that it's hard to get out of it. So from talking to a therapist, it won't work. It won't help. So with EDMR, they use like eye coordination, different things like that. So definitely do your research on that, because I'm still researching it as well. But this for my people who've been through some trauma and they keep finding themselves like, yo, I just can't get out of it. Like this is keep happening in different forms where it's causing me so much pain. So for me to keep building myself up. For me to like, you know what I'm saying? So when I say do your research, like you ain't even got to talk to somebody if you choose not to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? But if you got to sit here and write a letter, like let's say something happened between you and a parent, right? And you don't want to talk to them per se, but write a letter. I swear to God, this works. Write a letter expressing how you really feel, like how hurt you was. Just write. You could cuss their ass out, all types of stuff, because at the end of the day, you're not going to give it to them. And then out loud, read it. Say it in the mirror. And I swear to God, you're going to feel better because you letting it out. You know what I'm saying? You expressing yourself. It ain't for them. It's for you. You know? Because when you hold that stuff in, it just builds up. It don't go away. Nothing goes away. Nothing goes away unless you address it and you get rid of it. And you say, you know what, I'm done. But you can't be done with something you don't even know that's the issue. So that's another way. If you don't want to go to therapy. You know, I'm not pushing therapy. I don't get paid for that. I'm not pushing that. I'm pushing, even if it's self-treatment. And I'm not talking about getting high all the time. Like, it's nothing wrong. Look, I'm all for 420. It need to be a holiday every day. But self-treatment is taking care of yourself. If you sitting out here journaling, if you a rapper, you into music all the time, that's you taking care of yourself because you expressing yourself through that. Even if it's not your story, you still being expressive in some way or form. If you an artist and you paint a lot, hey, continue to do that. If you a photographer, you take bomb photos, continue to do that, because you in your space where you feel the most safe, the most honest, your most authentic self. Continue to do that. Put more into that because it's going to heal your energy. That's the therapy I'm talking about when I say self-medicate. You know what I'm saying? Do the things that you love to do and do them for you. As much as you would do for somebody you care about, do more when it comes to yourself. And I speak about that heavy because I have found myself in that situation. Because it's like, for me, that comes to my trauma. I be trying to right my wrongs. And I can't do that because it is what it is. It's in the past. I can't go back and change that. If I could, oh my God, I would change so much stuff. But I can't do that. And that stuff that added more trauma. Because in all actuality, I end up putting more and more to somebody else. Whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, significant other, boom. More and more because I'm trying to right my wrong. And you only got so much a day. You got to think about it. How much can you give a day? And I say in a day because every day is new. Every day is different. You know what I'm saying? I can't go off months, years, weeks, because nothing's guaranteed. Even tomorrow, even later on today ain't guaranteed. But I could be like, wake up today. I got this much to give out of my energy, out of my love, out of my support, all this stuff, to the point where it's me sacrificing myself. And that's the thing you can't do. You can't never sacrifice yourself, because you end up losing value in yourself. And then you blaming somebody else because you're not getting nothing back, because you lost all of it. And you have nothing to fill you back up. So that's what I mean when I say give more to yourself than you would give anybody else. If it's you painting and drawing and doing music or doing sports, or you into, medical, whatever it is that you like to do, stay into that. If you got multiple things like me, stay into that, but don't drain yourself fully, because you have to find that balance. And that's the same with trauma. You have to find a balance. You just can't live and you can't be defined by it. You have to define it. Okay, this what happened to me, but I'm this better person because of it. Because I addressed the situation. Because I had access to, okay, this how I'm gonna fix this issue that I have with myself. Be honest with myself. This is how I'm going to correct it. This is how I'm going to change my behavior. This is how I'm going to change my thought process. That's the biggest thing. You can't change it, you can't change how you act if you ain't thinking better or thinking differently. That's like a bank robber going into the bank thinking like, you know what? I'm going to go rob all these M's from them, right? And now I'm going to get out the situation like this and that. Boom. He do it successfully. Then he found himself in another situation, but now you already hot. Okay, you get caught, you go to jail, you get out, the same mindset, but you talking about you a changed man. But you go out and do it again. You go out and rob again. Get caught again. Longer time. You out again. All right, now I'm really a different person. And it's not like, okay, well, he been in jail, you know what I'm saying, the cards was dealt to him, but it all changed with your mindset. It really does. You got to think different, because it's like, regardless of the environment or situation you in, you got to apply those same rules and codes in a different way to get a different outcome. For instance, I'm huge on Wall Street Trapping. I don't know how I came across him on this Earn Your Leisure podcast that I love watching. It's another Black-owned podcast, but I was listening to his story and I'm like, dang, I understand everything he's saying, his language of talking. And I'm like, dang, that's all we do. Because I look at myself like everything that I was doing before the military that got me, that kept me alive or whatever, or made sure I was good, or like I be in fight or flight mode. When my back up against the wall, I'm a different person. And regardless, I apply those same rules of how I survived from the past, but just in a different way. Because I'm in a different environment. So I'm going to get a different result. So I definitely want to tap into trauma or whatever, because it's like, it's real important. It's important to me, and it's important to the community, I feel like, because a lot of us don't know that we in traumatic situations. A lot of us don't know that we have these toxic traits that we keep carrying on, but we keep saying we want change, we want different. But honestly, it's not that we don't know how to find difference. It's like we're not putting that time in to do it. And that's where it comes to, do you even want different? Do you even want change or whatever like that? And if you really do, what's stopping you? What's holding you?
So I appreciate y'all for listening. We cover a couple different things when it came to trauma, as far as age groups, different environments, different types of examples, like how trauma would look if you sit there and just address it, so, and definitely the resources, take advantage. But thank y'all. Civil Mindset Podcast.